Alright, did you know that the beta branch is now public? If you know this, you might want to go to none, go from betas to none. This branch is now public. So if you read any or seen any of my previous read-throughs of the updates, obviously they've added fishing systems, improved the Unreal Engine and performance, and added butchers such as pigs and food spoilage. The food spoilage definitely needs an improvement, in my opinion. But I guess that will be changed over time. They did add sausages and pigs. So the sausages, of course, that's you require a bit of salt, and I'm hoping they add pickled, vegetables and the like over time. Maybe dried fruits and such a thing to help with the preservation of food. Of course, that will require some adjusting with the food spoilage, but hopefully they'll get to work on that. And obviously, crossbow and huntsman. If you've seen in my previous videos regarding this, I haven't showcased the crossbowmen. I have displayed them on the streams, and the crossbowmen are pretty OP, like they were in the past. They were also quite illegal, mostly by the church. Like most kings didn't really care, but crossbowmen are in existence. They require some parts, iron parts that you had to make. I don't know when they added it. I think they added it during the betas as well, but didn't really mention it. But yeah, you can make crossbows like this. It's pretty expensive, but they're definitely worth it. Definitely a lot more worth than the archers themselves. The archers really could be better, but you know, crossbowmen are the way to go. And production limits and reserves. So you can basically set production limits, and I wish other games would do this. Middle Dynasty is one of my favorite games. There's no production limit options in that game. They haven't really bothered to do that. And yet, for whatever reason, these guys were able to do it incredibly easily. And this was like a kind of a smaller team. Middle Topless has a much bigger team, but to be fair, they've like divided their teams a lot, so they're working on a lot of other games, which in my opinion is a little bit kind of nuts. But that's near here. There we're talking about Manor Lords. So performance and optimization, significant CPU optimizations for late game scenarios, making large cities run smoother. And I can tell you, they do run pretty smoothly, even when I'm, especially when I'm not streaming, obviously. But I fixed my stream so that's at least 30 FPS, and about you can have like 1,000 while streaming, 1,000 pop while streaming, and I believe it'll be like 20 to 30 FPS, and that is pretty good. That's pretty good for streamers and all that kind of stuff. So reduced stutter, improved load times for large save files, multiple optimization for crowd animations, path baiting, unit rotations, and rendering of surface checks to further improve performance. So balance changes and bug fixes. Advanced pawn keeping was introduced to increase pawn capacity and limit overfishing. Honestly, I don't really like the pawns all that much, but they are kind of useful. I prefer, as opposed to ponds, I'd like rivers, but this game, obviously, they didn't implement that. They have creeks, but they don't have rivers themselves. So, fixed several crashes and bugs, including deer behavior issues, villagers ignoring storage filters, and certain game-breaking edge cases related to saving and building placement. So, thank you for your time. And something about the Hooded Horse publisher. Obviously, the Hooded Horse is, advertising their other games. So, Manor Lords patch notes 0.8.004. This is no longer in the beta branch. So, basically, you're going to want to go to change your saves to none as I said earlier in the part of the game. But anyway, upgrade the game to run Unreal Engine 5. A lot of old engine bugs and crashes should no longer occur, including random crashes during loading a saved game. Experimental, a new virtual shadow map system that produces very sharp, high resolution shadows. Be careful when using this, because I know, I mean, I'm very inexperienced with Unreal, but I have used their 5.0 shadows. They do take a lot of your loads. So, a new volumetric clouds and atmosphere rendering, GPU-based LOD for instanced components. I tried my best to match UE5 settings, foliage LOD's fog level, to UE4 settings, since some players perceived a downgrade. That can happen from time to time when upgrading from Unreal Engine to Unreal Engine. But added a trade overview in the development screen, which is very, very helpful. Just don't forget about this. Trade menu in the development screen. You can check out what you're trading, how much of each item you're getting, and how much of each item you're selling, and how much you're profiting from that, basically. Void spoilage, void. You know, my English has gotten worse and worse over time, but we're at food spoilage. So each food type decays at a certain rate per month. For instance, fish decay faster than bread. I wish the options didn't say low, medium, and high, because those things kind of frustrate me. And the reason why they frustrate me is usually there is a specified time limit, and I don't mean specified. They give it like between this many days and that many days. Like at stores, they give you an expiration limit to let you know how long they're going to last. But that's the expiration limit is not always the exact time. If you preserve it properly, they can last longer, but if you do it improperly, they will expire faster than the expiration date limit. The expiration date is technically just there to let you know it's most likely going to, on average, going to last this long, but not always. I would prefer like something. It's kind of different from that in Manor Lords itself, but anyway. So weather events can affect spoilage rates. Droughts make food spoil quicker. Added drought impact to the spoilage tooltip. Added a spoilage multiplier difficulty setting to the game's setup. So fishing, added new resource fishing pod. Obviously, they already talked about that. But there's a development branch, only worth it if you have very little other options to produce food, and you have like a very rich deposit of fish. If there were salted fish, I would definitely probably go after this. If they added like salted fish or something into that part of the development branch, it would probably convince more people to go that way. That way they could preserve fish for a bit longer. So fish pond water level obviously goes lower during droughts, and don't forget to get the fisherman's hut. I believe it costs about, I think it's 4 logs to build that. I think it's 2 actually. And if you have like a hunting hut or another thing, you can basically stop working to the winter and go hunting. Of course, if it's berries, then you have problems. So crossbows obviously added new stuff. But for newbies, I guess I should read that. Added new military crossbows. Added new unit type, light mercenary crossbowmen and militia crossbowmen. Added a new ranged low-tier mercenary group, the Huntsmen. Iron parts are required to make crossbows. They are made from iron slabs by the blacksmith artisan. Do not forget this. If you want to make crossbows, make those iron parts. That's what I do myself. So butchers. So implemented the butcher artisan conversion. This was during the beta phase, now public. Butchers take surplus sheep and lamb and convert them into meat. Added new deposit salt and re-added the salt resource, which is mined with the surface/deep mine. Added a new resource, sausage. This has been mentioned multiple times, but it requires 1 salt and 1 meat to create 2 sausage, and it lasts longer. So that's actually pretty good. It is made in the butcher workshop and has much lower spoilage rate than meat. First butcher workshop built will set a sheep and lamb reserve automatically to a half of the population in order to avoid butchering the whole flock. Advanced skinning development branches doubles the meat from butchers as well. Added a system of production limits and reserves for workplaces, crafting goods, removed the individual limits, construction limit, hunting limit, and rerouted everything to the new reserve UI in the advanced tab. This way, fishermen huts now also get a fish limit to avoid overfishing. Also pigs. So you now have to choose what animal to order, either a pig or a goat. So if I wasn't clear on previous videos, when you're making your animal pins, that requires 2 planks, and then once the planks are finished, you can order either a pig or a goat. In my opinion, it's not necessarily worth it to get the pigs unless you get twice as many meat in terms of butchering. So you could get 4 times the meat as opposed to 2 times every 150 days. And goats give 1 meat plus 1 hide every 150 days. I believe they changed that a bit, but with 2 hides. Somewhere a little bit lower it was mentioned. Then again, it might have been a typo. Anyway, the gameplay pounds, the official for the 0.8.00.4, I believe. So brought rich deposits closer to the starting camp on first spawn, if possible, to make the start a little bit more balanced. Malt house, added a pantry to the malt house. Malt house now actually requires refueling. Added generic storage to the malt house since it stores fuel. 1 malt now makes 2 ale, which is pretty good. So I'm pretty sure they also made it so the malt, you get 2 malt for every 1 barley? No, maybe I'm mixing that up. 1 malt now makes 2 ale, which is great. Sheep and lamb. When bought, sheep all have pregnancy counter set to 0 for better predictability of the sheep breeding development branch. A minimum of 2 sheep are now required for breeding to occur. Sheep pregnancy duration lower to 145 days, plus or minus 1 variable is currently hidden in the game. The number of lambs born per region cap increased to a maximum of 2 every 10 days. So this actually, this helps a lot because sometimes sheep aren't born fast enough. They're like, you can even have 500 sheep, but still only have like 60 sheep at a time, which have been rather frustrating. The number of lambs born cap was really annoying, but 2 every 10 days will be a lot more helpful and help to feed your populace for once. So goat extension yielded 2 hides and 1 meat every day, which means goats are even more worth it this time, and you get to spend less on each goat and maybe focus more on either chickens or pigs, depending which one you actually want. So with the advanced skinning development branch, well, there's that. Apparently it's only, I was hoping it'd be plus 2 extra meat, but if it's only plus 1, that's unfortunate. But the 2 hides though, that makes it worth it going the advanced skinning branch. Now if you want to do like rush cattle and the like and have one area dedicated to that, you might want to do that. But it's unfortunate they lowered the meat. But 2 hides with the advanced skinning development branch. I was hoping it would be for the start, but if it's going to be that, I was too excited for no reason. So the bonus resource node was removed since most people thought that it's a bug. This is old one. Since most people expect between 2 to 3 ponds and 2 to 3 salt deposits per map instead of spawning them as a bonus node from a random pool, fishing ponds can now randomly replace berry deposits, and salt deposits can randomly replace iron deposits. Once again, the randomization uses a fixed pool to spawn 2 to 3 of those per map, as the player seems to expect. Again, this is from the beta update. So, minor changes. Rewrote the random node algorithm to reduce cases where it fails to find an appropriate spot and spawns an object in the wrong location, spawning a bandit camp on top of a pond. Added multiple paragraph breaks to wiki descriptions. A setting was added to display resource node deposit icons in construction mode only. Made advanced tab highlight every time an artisan workshop is created so that the player notices the new settings of production focus and reserves for butchers. Experimental, a new way of spawning bandit camps that is more randomized and should now avoid spawning them on top of ponds. Experimental, moved production focus to the advanced building panel tab and livestock assignment to the livestock building panel tab. Add a missing lambs icon. Wiki text and tooltip updates. Added a new coat of arms symbols. Added new character portraits. This is from the beta. Lowered the interface scale on smaller resolutions to reduce the top region panel overlapping with the Lord's panel and screen edge. Improve collision avoidance if two characters are already extremely near collision distance or in collision. Enhance the tooltip for the NA price to explain better why it's not available. Fuel reserve renamed to fuel stockpile, not to confuse with the new reserve options. Remove the max capacity placeholder text. Added max mining deposit capacity to save data. If an animal breeding fails due to collision, another attempt will be made next cycle. Adjusted stone gate spawning locations for specific level 3 plots. Left side anchored, no expansion upgrade. Added new help buttons to reserve and production limit and added entries for text and bar UI and work area and road curvature. Change the season tooltip to display the current year instead of year survived, as well as the day of the month. Change the animal pen upgrade icon to reflect the new animal choices. Traders will continue working when sick until they reach home region again. Change ox pulling directions to be even more historically accurate from center to outside. Experimental. The game hides the demolish button on the very last hitching post in the region in order to protect new players from the game overing themselves by deleting the last hitching post and making the ox run away. I made the stables follow the same rules, so if you have 10 stables and 1 hitching post, you may delete the hitching post, but if you have 1 stable, you can no longer delete it. Adjusted the description of better deals perk. Added the livestock order timer to save. Optimizations. Added advanced culling for transform updates. Should make high population sessions run much faster. Experimental fireplace light simulation mod added. Optional of surface checks and fire reaction checks. Optimize unit rotation smoothing for far from the camera. Ground height checks optimization. Locomotion velocity and animation speed calculation optimized. Unit static collision system optimizations. Grass system optimizations. Significant crowd emissions system optimizations. Experimental distributed unit motion calculations over multiple frames to make the frame rate smoother. Optimize calculations of push forces in combat. Reduce stutter after loading a save file. By moving the loading of the construction assets into the loading screen, in consequence making the loading screen a bit longer. Pathfinding optimizations, optimize memory usage, dynamic foliage lots, tree detail will now vary on the camera angle, additionally to being dependent on the distance to the camera. Crash fixes. Fix a crash where the player deleted a squad by RMB during rallying tool by activating tool being active with that squad. Fix a crash when relocating a forager with a herbs garden while one of the workers has a task related to the garden and then reassigning the work in the relocated building. Fix the crash for saids that had a bugged 0 yield field because the player placed such a narrow plot it couldn't be triangulated properly. Fix the crash when deer were startled off the map. Fix the crash when Baron loots one of the bandit camps. Fix the game crashing when Baron clears a bandit camp. Fix the crash when booting the game while volumetric cloud setting is off in the ini file. Fix the crash when drawing over 200 waypoints for a squad. Well, someone really wanted to break the game. So, bug fixes. Fix the deer not migrating back to their lair location if the camera is far due to optimization introduced in 0.7.975. Coat of arms editor, field E, not displaying text properly. Fix saving erasing ownership data of items in the inventory, leading, for instance, the woodcutters transporting log pieces to the storehouse. Fix rounding up influences values shown in UI may give an impression that claiming territory is not working correctly. Placing a road over carts permanently remove them from the game. Limiting farmhouse houses work area does not prevent workers from gathering already harvested crops from fields. After destroying the well, buildings do not lose water access. Fixed attempt for militia potentially not unequipping their military gear if they are disbanded while still inside their houses, leading to atom data not found errors for civilian actions happening when dressed in military type body. Fixed bloomers over refueling their workplaces. Fixed castle modules costing too many resources to confirm whether it was already present in the public build. Fix the extension/conversion sound signatures not applying the volume settings. Added a temp workaround for snowflakes not displaying on AMD GPUs. Fix black shrubs occurring during a drought. Fix snap to roads checkbox not doing anything when placing plots. Added a fixed attempt for players being able to place fields that are almost self-intersecting, leading to them being unselectable and or having a 0% fertility. Fixed save game and load game header text getting mixed up in the load menu. Fixed deer getting stuck if the bandits are near. Fixed deer getting scared of birds and running away, potentially forever. Fun one. Fixed deer not being startled by buildings. Fixed villagers can fetch water from the not fully constructed well. Windmills does not respect the production limit. The tavern production limit being visible even though it doesn't produce anything. Fixed and valid push force scaling at high frame rates, resulting in units pushing themselves away indefinitely in rare situations. Fixed some parts of the LV3 residential stone gate while floating or spawning with gaps. Fixed level 3 stone gate not always being spawned deterministically when a plot is narrow, and there is no expansion leading to some buildings appearing as unconstructed after loading a save. Fixed villagers and oxen sometimes not respecting storage filters. Fixed berry regional lengths sometimes being picked even though there is no berry spawned, cause a pond replace them. Fix the heads sometimes disappearing when a newly spawned villager exits a building. Fix soldiers running away from enemies immediately after loading a save. Cowards. Fix deer counting as 2 when breeding. Fix setting highlights disappearing after changing language. Fix storehouse workers collecting fuel stockpiles from buildings that need to be refueled. Fix the root tiles icon being grayed. Fix the constantly pause and unpause the game to stop days passing exploit. Fix deer icon not moving to their lair location after reloading the game. Fix lamb age not loading properly. Fix herders not collecting wool from sheep if the sheep move after the task is created and not move again due to the camera being far. Fixed barter traders not traders leave imported non-food goods and market stalls. Fixed reserve set in the tavern for ale distribution is not being respected. Remove the extra 2 days between December and January, which resulted from the day of the year counter starting at 0. Fixed military equipment crafted by artisans is not being transported to the storehouse if the corresponding workshop storage is full. Fixed oxen not reaccommodating to another hitching post or stable if their current home hitching post gets demolished. Fixed grass not disappearing after deleting and rebuilding a vegetable garden. Fixed incorrect animal gets delivered if save load is performed after ordering one. For example, traders importing chickens by mistake. This fix may only work on a new save. Fix the fuel reservation bug, sometimes getting fuel into the negatives. Fix building access limit triggering too aggressively, resulting in a worker waiting because they think too many people are trying to access the same building at the same time. Fixed villagers taking away charcoal from workplaces that have fuel stockpiles. Fixed trapping perk does not work until loading a save file. Fixed workers keep producing goods without respecting the set reserve if it is set to 1000 or more. Fix Blu-ray not respecting crafting reserve. Trading post workers do not sell goods after loading a save. Production in the hunting camp blocks when the generic storage is full of carcass. Fix lazy buildings like the sitting log in the hunting camp being treated as workbenches. Well, that's funny actually, and kind of makes sense. Fix deer carcasses sometimes not disappearing from the rack after crafting is finished if a game was loaded during the crafting process. Fix the meat lying under the table in the hunting camp. Fix hunters sometimes bringing over 2 carcasses for skinning in the hunting camp even though there are only 2 skinning racks. Fix resources retrieved from the bandit camp being able to land in a pond, leading to the bandits possibly trying to loot them. Not being able to get into the pond to get them, and clogged pathfinding, resulting in pathfinding for squads not working or being laggy. Fix tavern keepers transporting ale back to the granary if it exceeds 85% on the pantry limit. Second, fix a tent, resources retrieved from the bandit camp being able to land in a pond. Fix export price showing as NA in the trading post while doing local trade only, foreign trade checkbox disabled. Fix villagers not unequipping carts when going to fetch water. Fix villagers clamping too much at the well. Note this might affect transportation limits of the other buildings again, aka more workers waiting if too many people want to access the same building at the same time. Fix grass not properly cooling over fields. Cosmetics. Okay, hang on, let me take a breather. That's a long breather. It seems like not all of these updates, the vast majority of these, like 99% of them, aren't really new unless you're putting them into the public branch. But the vast majority of them aren't the newest. So I was hoping I'll find something new there, but I can't really tell because my memory is poor. But you know, this is a new update and it's in the public branch, so I guess that's what's important. And I've been talking like crazy, man. How long is this? 26 minutes. I've been reading all of this. Wow. The one-handed combo animation Polish and two-handed idle pose Polish. Polish or Polish, I don't know. Experimental, change back the deposit icons to be all flat shaded for unification. And made draw transition smoother. Added turning animations for oxen so that they appear less stiff when moving. Spring color palette tweaks to overall appear less yellowish. Main menu scene reworked for better historical authenticity. Two-handed combat animations cleanup. Attack defend combos. Further field material art directions and specular variations. More precise height calculation on landing deforming meshes like mines. Try to tune the ice material. Sorry, I'm knocking over my mic. Ice material to make it less like, according to one player, concrete. Experimental pond material changes. The water edge is softened at the cost of AA motion precision. Sadly, we can't have both. Pond water now receives shadows. Note, shadows will look pixelated up close with sharp shadow settings. Epic is working on a solution as we speak. Increase the distance a cartwheels / barrels rotating, which had earlier reduced too aggressively for optimization. So increased how quickly the weather changes to reduce the period of overcast weather, since some players reported the game is too gloomy. The irregularity of the vegetable field shape now scales with their size. This way they are no longer too wobbly as they get very large. Experimental light function atlas enabled to allow puns to receive cloud shadow material edits were required. Tweak grass laws and grass winds. My goodness, this is very long-winded, but you know, this is the official public branch. Of course, I think they announced that it was going up a lot earlier than that. In one of the previous announcements, I just didn't bother because they said, you know, it's a public branch now. But anyway, if you didn't know, the beta phase is now in the public branch, and if you want to go ahead and play it right now, or if you're still in the beta branch, change your betas to none in the pre-release and go ahead and play that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this read through. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more news regarding Manor Lords and some other games like Medieval Dynasty. if you want me to put a focus on other games, of course, and talk about those, please let me know. I'll do my best to keep be aware of those updates as well. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Be sure to go check out my streams. Thank you and good day.